Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mr. Kovold, and in this video I'll be going over another problem involving the finding of a molecular formula. But in this problem we're going to start from the beginning. So in a lot of these problems they actually just give you a lot of information, and then you need to find the empirical formula first, and then you find the molecular formula. So I've already done a couple of videos on how to find the molecular formula and the empirical formula, and so this video kind of brings it together. So in this problem, we're going to determine the molecular formula for the compound, and then they give us the molar mass of the compound. So that's going to be used to find the molecular formula. And then they give us the following percent composition breakdown of the elements in the compound. We're going to use this to find the empirical formula first. Once we find the empirical formula, then we can use the molar mass to find the molecular formula. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is, when they give you the percentages, is that you assume a 100 gram sample. And then what that does is, since you have 100 grams, 39.97% of 100 is 39.97 grams. So you just convert that to grams. So we're going to just make this into grams. So this is going to be 39.97 grams of carbon. This is going to be 13.41 grams of hydrogen, and then this is going to become 46.62 grams of nitrogen. So now we have the grams, okay, out of our 100 gram sample. So the next thing we need to do is convert grams to moles, so we can get the mole ratio of our empirical formula. So what we need to do now is use the molar mass of each element and multiply by that as a conversion factor. So carbon, the molar mass is 12.01, so I'm going to put 12.011 grams of carbon on the bottom to cancel out with the top. 1 mole of carbon on top. So grams of carbon cancel out. Same thing with hydrogen. Oops. So I'm going to multiply by the conversion factor. So the molar mass of hydrogen is 1.008 grams of hydrogen per 1 mole. So moles, 1 mole of hydrogen is on top, grams on the bottom, so I can cancel out the hydrogen, the grams of hydrogen. And then finally, I have grams of nitrogen. The molar mass of nitrogen is 14.01 grams of nitrogen. And so 1 to 1 mole, so 1 mole of nitrogen is going to be on top, grams on the bottom, so I can cancel out with grams of nitrogen. And so now I have everything set up to get moles. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the mole amount. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so I have 39.97 divided by 12.011 equals, and I get 3.327, so that's going to be 3.327 moles of carbon. Do the same thing with hydrogen, so I have 13.41 divided by 1.008 equals, and I get 13.303. So I'm going to get 13.303 moles of the hydrogen. And then finally get nitrogen 46.62 divided by 14.01 equals 3.327. So it's going to be 3.327 moles of nitrogen. Okay, so now I have the moles of each one. So now I can set up my pseudo formula. So my formula, like any chemical formula, it's going to have the moles of each element in the formula. So I calculated the moles, so I'm going to put in the moles for my formula. So C is 3.327. Hydrogen is going to be 13.303, and then nitrogen is going to be 3.327. So now I have the moles in my pseudo formula. I can't keep it this way, so now I need to find the the ratio between these. So I'm going to divide by the smallest one. And it looks like the smallest one is the same for both of these, 3.327. So I'm going to divide everything by 3.327. 3.327, 3.327. And then what that's going to do is it's going to give me a ratio of 1 to something with regard to all of my elements. So this is going to be 1. So carbon is going to be a 1. And nitrogen is going to be 1. We need to calculate this one here. So if we take 13.303 divided by 3.327 equals, and we get 3.9984. So this is equal to 3.9984. That's pretty much 4, so we can round to 4. And so that's going to be H4 and then N1. So then I don't have any fractions here. I don't have any 0.5s or 0.25s or anything like that. It's all whole numbers. So I am done. So the empirical formula would be CH4N. We don't write the ones. And so that's going to be the empirical formula. Now the problem is asking for the molecular formula. So I'm not done. So now what I need to do is I need to find the formula mass for the empirical formula and compare that to the molar mass that they gave me. So we need to find the empirical formula mass. So we have 1 carbon, so we're going to be 1 times 12.011 grams per mole for the carbon. We have to add in the 4 hydrogens. So we're going to add in 4 times 1.008 grams per mole. And then we need to add in the nitrogen. So that's going to be 1 times 14.01 grams per mole. So when we add that all together, so we got 12.011 plus, that's going to be 4 times 1.008 plus, and then that's going to be 14.01 equals. And so that gives me 30.053. So this is equal to 30.053 grams per mole. So that is the formula mass for my empirical formula. Now I want to compare that to the molar mass. So I'm going to divide this into that. So I take my 60.10 grams per mole divided by 30.053 grams per mole, and it looks like it's going to be really close to 2. So if I take my 60.10 divided by my 30, and I get 1.9998. So that gives me 1.9998, which is really close to 2. So it's basically 2. So the factor that I'm going to multiply by is 2. So I take my formula, my empirical formula, multiply all the subscripts by 2. And so I get C2, H8, and N2. So this is the actual formula for the substance. And so that's how you go about finding the molecular formula when you are given a breakdown of the substances or the elements in the compound. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find the empirical formula, and then when you find the empirical formula, you are going to use the molar mass they gave you to find the ratio or find the factor that you need to multiply by to go from your empirical formula to the molecular formula. I hope this was helpful. If you like the video, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, make a comment in the comment section, tell me what you think, what else would you like me to go over, and go ahead and ring the notification bell. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.